The eighth day of Chinese New Year, 古日, 谢八, Grain Day, birthday of the millet, eve of the Jade Emperor's birthday. What is the eighth day of Chinese New Year called? Let's dive in. The eighth day of the first lunar month carries several names, each reflecting a different aspect of its meaning. According to traditional Chinese agricultural customs, its primary name is Grain Day, or the birthday of millet, 古日, honoring one of humanity's oldest and most important food sources. In some regions of China, particularly in Fujian province, it is also known as 谢八, which means praying for blessings on the eighth day, and traditionally marks the conclusion of the main New Year's festivities, as recorded in regional cultural histories. However, for the Hokkien people, or known as Fujian, this day is primarily understood as the eve of Pai Ti Gong, or Bai Tian Gong, the grand worship ceremony dedicated to the heavenly grandfather, the Jade Emperor. This diversity of names, noted by scholars of Chinese festival traditions, reveals how a single day can hold different meanings across China's vast cultural landscape. The cultural aspects and deities involved. In ancient times, millet was not merely a food source, it was the very foundation of survival. It was the staff of life that sustained millions of families through harsh winters and lean years. According to Chinese agricultural folklore, ancestors understood that their lives depended entirely on the success of the harvest. So they designated the eighth day as millet's birthday to express gratitude for this precious grain. Farmers would carefully observe the weather on this day, believing it served as an omen for the coming year. A bright, clear, sunny day promised a bountiful harvest, while cloudy skies or rain forewarned of poor crop yields and potential hardship. This practice, recorded in traditional farming almanacs, reflects the profound connection between the Chinese people and the land that has nourished them for over 5,000 years. To understand the significance of the eighth day, we must first understand why the number 8 holds such an exalted place in Chinese culture. According to linguistic scholars, the primary reason is phonetic. The pronunciation of pa sounds nearly identical to the word fa, which means to prosper, to become wealthy, or to flourish. Pa means 8. This connection is especially strong in Cantonese, where pat closely resembles fat, the word for prosperity. As documented in studies of Chinese cultural diffusion, what began as a regional preference in southern China spread nationwide during the past few decades as internal migration increased, carrying this cultural preference to every corner of the country. The importance of 8 extends far beyond mere homophones. According to classical Chinese philosophy, even numbers are generally preferred over odd numbers because they represent harmony and balance. Cultural historians note that the symmetrical shape of the digit 8 itself is meaningful. It represents an endless cycle, a constant flow of energy, balance, and infinity. This visual symbolism reinforces the idea of continuous prosperity and unbroken good fortune. The number 8 also appears throughout Chinese mythology and art, as documented in religious texts and artistic traditions. We have the 8 immortals, 八仙, the 8 trigrams of the I Ching, 八卦, and the 8 Buddhist symbols, all of which represent completeness and cosmic order. While many people understand 8 as simply a lucky number, its significance in Chinese culture runs much deeper. Ancient Chinese texts reveal a more nuanced understanding of numbers. The great scholar Xu Sen, in his authoritative work 说文解字, explained that the character 八 originally meant to part or to divide, representing the concept of separation and distinction. As noted by classical Chinese philologists, this reminds us that cultural meanings evolve over time, and the modern association with prosperity represents a later development layered atop older understandings. The preference for 8 also connects to traditional Chinese cosmology. According to the Book of Changes, I Ching, numbers are not merely quantitative symbols, but carry qualitative meanings about the nature of reality. Classical commentators on the I Ching explain that the 8 trigrams represent the fundamental forces of the universe: heaven, earth, thunder, wind, water, fire, mountain, and lake, and their interactions create all phenomena. Thus, when Chinese culture elevates the number 8, it is drawing upon this ancient cosmological framework that sees the universe as comprehensible through patterns and numbers. The deeper meaning of Millet Day is to teach the younger generation gratitude for food and respect for agriculture. Traditionally, the elders would take children to the fields to learn about farming. Families would prepare meals using various grains to help children understand where food comes from and the hard work involved in growing it. The Jade Emperor was originally the crown prince of the kingdom of pure felicity and majestic heavenly lights and ornaments. Sacred texts record that even at birth he displayed extraordinary qualities and emitted a wondrous light that filled the entire kingdom. As a youth, he was kind, intelligent, and deeply compassionate, devoting himself entirely to helping the needy, the poor, the suffering, the abandoned, the hungry, and the disabled. He showed equal respect and benevolence towards both humans and all creatures. After his father's death, the prince ascended the throne and ruled with such wisdom and benevolence that everyone in his kingdom found peace and contentment. Yet, he felt called to a higher purpose. The sacred texts tell us that he told his ministers of his desire to cultivate the Tao, retiring to the bright and fragrant cliff to devote himself entirely to spiritual practice. What followed was an unimaginably long journey of cultivation. First 1,750 eons, each eon lasting 129,600 years, through which he attained golden immortality. Then followed another 100 million years of cultivation before he finally became the Jade Emperor. According to Taoist reckoning, this spans a total of approximately 327 million years of spiritual development before he assumed his position as ruler of heaven. Another version of his origin tells of a king named Jingde Wang and his queen Bao Yue Guang. who were virtuous rulers, beloved by their people. They prayed earnestly for a son, and one night the queen dreamed that Lord Laozi, known as Taishan Daojun, one of the highest Taoist deities, presented her with an infant. She awoke pregnant, and after a 12-month gestation, gave birth on the 9th day of the first lunar month. As the story continues, the prince grew up to be a wise and compassionate ruler, but eventually renounced his throne to cultivate the Tao in the mountains. After thousands of trials and eons of cultivation, he became the Jade Emperor, the supreme sovereign of all. This is why his birthday is celebrated on the 9th day of the first lunar month. For the Hokkien people, the celebration of the Jade Emperor's birthday carries special historical significance rooted in a dramatic legend of survival and divine deliverance. According to our Hokkien oral tradition, the Hokkien ancestors were once pursued by invading forces and took refuge in a sugarcane plantation. Family histories recount that they hid among the tall sugarcane stalks until the invaders passed, and they emerged safely on the 9th day of the new year, which happened to be on the Jade Emperor's birthday. Believing that the Jade Emperor had protected them and orchestrated their deliverance, they offered prayers of thanksgiving and promised to honor him forever on this day. To this day, some Hokkien families place whole sugarcane plants with their roots still attached on the altars during the Pai Ting Kong, Bai Tian Kong ceremony. In the Hokkien language, according to linguistic records, sugarcane is called Kam Chia, which sounds similar to the words for thank you, Kam Sia, making it the perfect symbolic offering of gratitude. The roots are left attached to signify that the gratitude is deeply rooted and that the family's connection to the Jade Emperor is strong and living. The ceremony begins late on the 8th night and continues until midnight. Families construct elaborate outdoor altars, often with multiple tiers, decorated with flowers, red paper, and lanterns. Traditional offerings are extraordinarily lavish and specific. Whole roasted suckling pig or whole chicken, fresh fruits arranged in towers, sweet rice cakes including ti kueh and huat kueh, specialty vegetarian dishes, and most importantly, the sugarcane plants with their roots intact. Incense burns continuously, and as midnight approaches, the air fills with the deafening sound of firecrackers and fireworks. The louder, the better, as noise is believed to attract the deity's attention and express the community's collective joy and reverence. Where is it still observed? Within mainland China, regional cultural histories reveal that practices vary by province. In Fujian province, the ancestral home of the Hokkien people, the tradition remains strong, with families following the old customs passed down through generations. In Zhejiang province, particularly in the Taizhou area, local records indicate that the 8th day is observed as Xiepa, which marks the conclusion of the main New Year activities. In northern China, where the Hokkien influence is minimal, ethnographic studies show that the focus tends to be more on the agricultural aspects of the day, the birthday of millet, and the opportunity to teach children about gratitude for food and respect for farmers. Variations of the practice. The most spectacular celebrations occur in areas with large Hokkien populations. In Malaysia, Particularly in Penang, cultural researchers have noted that the Pai Tin Gong celebration is arguably the most important event of the entire New Year period, eclipsing even New Year's Day itself in skill and enthusiasm. Entire neighborhoods participate, with streets closed for massive outdoor feasts and firework displays that last for hours. In Singapore, according to local religious records, the Hokkien community gathers at temples like the Tian Hock Keng Temple, Tian Fu Gong, one of the oldest and most important Hokkien temples in the country, for elaborate ceremonies. In Taiwan, the celebration is also widely observed, with major temples holding special rituals and families setting up home altars. Chinese culture is not monolithic, but rather a rich tapestry of regional traditions, each adding its unique colors and patterns to the whole. Whether one is honoring millet in a northern village, praying with sugarcane in a Penang street, or offering incense at a Singapore temple, the underlying values are the same, which are gratitude, reverence, and hope for blessings in the year ahead. From the earth that feeds us to the heaven that watches over us, the 8th day connects us to both realms and reminds us of our place in the great cosmos. May your own year be as bountiful as a sunny millet day and as blessed as the Jade Emperor's own celebration.